Welcome to Staffworks Explained. If you are here for the first time, please consider subscribing to this channel. In this video, we'll be talking about Ethiopia's Security Exchange, which we label as a new financial frontier. Late 2024 and early 2025 marked a watershed in Ethiopia's economic history with the launch and rapid development of Ethiopian Securities Exchange (ESX). After more than half a century without a formal stock market, Ethiopia has reopened a capital market designed to mobilize investment, deepen its financial system, and provide a platform for both domestic and foreign capital to participate in the country's economic transformation. Let's start by looking at the origins, why Ethiopia established the Securities Exchange. Ethiopia's move to build a formal security exchange did not happen overnight. For decades, the country's economy operated without a stock market, reflecting a broader pattern of state-led financial structures that limited private sector mobilization of capital. The idea of a bourse was revived as part of the homegrown economic reform agenda, a set of policy measures pursued by the government of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, aimed at opening up the economy, diversifying sources of finance, and improving competitiveness. Early preparatory work involved regulatory reform, the establishment of an overseer regulator, the Ethiopian Capital Market Authority (ECMA), and the design market infrastructure, including the central security depository and electronic trading systems. Critical milestones including licensing of ESX, Ethiopia Security Exchange itself, and also authorization of capital market service providers such as investment banks, security dealers, entities that are essential intermediaries for functional ESX. In official ceremonies, including the formal ringing of the inaugural bell in 2025 January, government leaders presented the launch of ESX as both an economic milestone and a symbol of Ethiopia's continued fiscal liberalization. Let's look at why and what is the Ethiopian Securities Exchange. Ethiopian Securities Exchange (ESX) is the primary and only formal stock exchange in the country. It operates as a private-public partnership with the state through Ethiopian Investment Holdings, holding a minority stake and remainder owned by private investors and institutions. The exchange provides a platform where financial instruments such as company shares, equities for that matter, treasury bills and treasury bonds, and eventually corporate bonds and other products can be listed and traded. Unlike formal or informal share transfers, over-the-counter sales that existed previously, this market operates under a regulatory framework designed to protect investors, provide transparent pricing, and match buyers with sellers in a regulated market. Let's look at the current listings and those that are on the pipeline. At launch, the volume of listed companies was small, reflecting the nascent stage of Ethiopia's capital market. We had Wegigan Bank, which is a mid-sized commercial bank, becoming among the first companies to list equity on exchange, establishing a national market presence. Then we had Gada Bank, another Ethiopian bank, followed as the second listing, adding depth to the financial sector representation of ESX. We had government treasury bills, Ethiopia's first traded listed fixed income securities. They began trading in mid-2025, enabling investors to engage in low-risk government debt instruments on the exchange. There are reports that 6 commercial banks are moving closer to listing. We have Awash Bank, Dashen Bank, Bank of Abyssinia, along with other small players such as Abe Bank, Anibesa Bank, and Amhara Bank, which have received approval in principle to list on the ESX main market. Dashen Bank and Bank of Abyssinia have completed security registration and published prospectus, placing them among the most advanced candidates for the debut entry. Awash Bank, alongside the smaller institutions Abe Bank and Besa Bank and Amhara, are working to finalize securities registration with the Ethiopian Capital Market Authority and complete disclosure requirement. Looking ahead, Ethiopia Capital Markets aims to broaden the investor base and issuer pipeline. In the next near term, we have ESX leadership setting a target to add several more listings within the year. Over the medium term, 5 years perhaps, ambitions include listing dozens of companies from key sectors including banks, insurance firms, and major state enterprises. Long-term plans envision up to 90 listings within a decade, combining state enterprises and private sector firms. These projected listings are part of a broader strategy to transform the financial sector and deepen domestic capital markets. Let's look at the external support and regional engagement that happens before and after the establishment of this market. The development of ESX has involved technical and advisory assistance from international organizations. A notable contributor has been financial sector deepening FSD Africa, a Nairobi-based development agency funded with support from the UK aid and that helps build financial infrastructure in African countries. FSD Africa involvements included expert support in market design as well as stakeholder engagement. We have the International Finance Corporation (IFC) and the World Bank, which have been involved in preparatory work and capacity building for the Ethiopian Capital Markets Authority and potential issues, which is typical in any emerging capital market where regulatory framework and investor education is still developing. We have the exchange has attracted interest from regional capital markets institutions. Kenya firms, including the stockbrokers and capital market intermediaries such as Diane Blair, as well as Faida Investment, among others, have been part of conversation about expanding services into Ethiopia. This regional interest highlights the potential for East Africa integration of financial services and cross-border investor flow. Recently, Ethiopia officially opened its newly launched security exchange to Kenyan stockbrokers, banks, and custodians, as well as other market intermediaries. This decision marked more than operationalization of the new market. It signaled a strategic shift in Ethiopia's economic philosophy and pivotal movement for a regional financial integration. For Kenya, a long regarded as East Africa's most mature capital market, this presents an opportunity to export financial expertise, extend Nairobi's influence as a regional financial hub, as well as shape the early DNA of Ethiopia's capital market. What's the role of security exchange in Ethiopia? At its core, ESX role is to mobilize capital in this country for businesses and other that otherwise rely on heavy bank presence for financing. It is also supposed to provide investment opportunities at both institutional and retail investors. This is also supposed to facilitate efficient allocation of savings into productive sectors, promote transparency and governance through regulated disclosure and trading, and also support government financing through domestic debt market, reducing reliance on external borrowing. By offering a structured venue for buying and selling security, the exchange is intended to broaden the financial system, reduce bottlenecks in credit markets, as well as encourage culture of investment. What are the benefits of this exchange? Creating a formal security market goes beyond listing stocks. Expected benefits include greater access to finance for companies that need capital expansion. There's also diversified investment opportunities or options for households and institutional investors. There is also enhanced transparency and corporate governance, as listed companies must follow disclosure rules. Development of related industries, including brokerage, investment advisory, as well as research services, is also expected. Microeconomic resilience is another benefit that is derived from this exchange, as market absorbs shocks through diversified financing and liquidity channels. Government bonds and other fixed income products traded on this market also enable pension funds, insurance company, and other institutional investors to match long-term liabilities. Let's look at the challenges that may be facing this exchange. Despite promising momentum, ESX faces several challenges. We have liquidity concerns where early capital markets often struggle with low trading volumes, making it harder for investors to buy and sell quickly without affecting the prices. We have investor education and trust, where many Ethiopians have limited experience with stock markets, requiring sustained education and outreach to build confidence. We have economic context, where high inflation and economic instability in recent years have complicated investor decision making. Then we have regulatory capacity, where ESX and its regulator, Ethiopian Capital Market Authority, are building system in real time, requiring capacity building and scaling up of enforcement mechanism. Then there is infrastructure and access, where digital platforms and broader investor access remains work in progress. Mobile and web platforms are still being developed. So these challenges are common in any emerging market and will likely require years of steady growth and regulatory refinement. How can exchange improve? To realize its potential, the ESX could prioritize developing investor education programs for households, diaspora, and retail investors. It can also encourage wider sector listing. They move beyond banks, they go to large state companies. They also include manufacturing, agriculture, and technology firms. There's also integration of digital platforms to expand access beyond Addis Ababa to the broader population. There's also strengthening of regulatory frameworks to protect minority investors and improve market confidence. Collaboration with regional partners to share the best practice and possibly enable cross-listing is another way that Ethiopia can learn from. Such moves would help the exchange evolve from a nascent institutions into a vibrant market that supports sustainable economic growth. In conclusion, we can say that the establishment of Ethiopian Securities Exchange represents a major shift in country's economic landscapes after a century without a formal capital market, born out of broader reform agenda supported by international enterprise and aimed at unlocking domestic and international investment. This market now stands at the threshold of growth. With only a handful of listings currently existing, the exchange infrastructure, regulatory base, and a strategic vision signal Ethiopia's commitment to deepening financial market. Realizing this potential will require steady institutional development, investor confidence building, and also ongoing reforms that balance openness with stability. If successful, ESX could play a central role in mobilizing capital for decades to come, broadening participation in national growth story, and also integrating Ethiopia more fully into global financial systems. So thank you for reaching this far. If it's your first time here, please consider subscribing to this channel. You can leave a comment, share, and also like. Also, you can watch other videos that we have made about Ethiopia and also about financial matters. Thank you.